Good evening. Welcome to the Torrance City Council meeting for May 18th, 2021. I call the meeting to order and ask our clerk for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Ashcraft?
Here.
Councilmember Chen?
Present.
Councilmember Goodrich?
Here.
Councilmember Griffith?
Here.
Councilmember Kalani?
Present.
Councilmember Matucci?
Here.
Mayor Fury?
Here. The council will now recess to closed session to confer with the city manager and the city attorney on the agenda matters listed under 14A, conference with labor negotiator, and 14B, threat to public services or facilities. A closed session on these matters is authorized by California Government Code Section 54957.6 and 54957. And first, Councilmember Griffith.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've been advised that I may not participate in closed session agenda item 14A19 because it is reasonably foreseeable that the vote regarding the pay and benefits for the office of city treasurer, which I am running for, may increase or decrease my personal finances by $500. So I'm recusing myself from closed session agenda item 14A19. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will return at 7 p.m.
Councilmember Griffith?
evening. Welcome to the Torrance City Council meeting for May 18th, 2021. We've been in executive session. Mr. Shaparian, anything to report?
Good evening, Your Honor. There's nothing to report.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us tonight. This past weekend, we celebrated our United States Armed Forces with a flyover in honor of the brave service people. We hope you're able to join in the celebration, and we're excited to start the planning of the long-awaited return of the parade next year. May marks 100 years of our city's incorporation. If you haven't already, check out the 100 Things to Experience in Torrance. Each week, we will release 10 new activities for you to explore in your city. Visit torranceca.gov/100yearsincorporation to find out more. We continue to run normal business for our residents and community. To keep Torrance moving forward, it's important for us that you have an opportunity to voice your comments during this pandemic. Public emails will continue to have a deadline of 2 p.m. on the day of the council meeting you wish to comment on. And thank you to those of you who met today's deadline. They've all been forwarded to the council as supplemental material and will be entered into the public record. Any emails submitted after the deadline will still be added to the public record. For those of you tuning in via Facebook, YouTube, live stream, or city cable, because of the challenges faced in this council format, and in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3A, we will now dedicate a single 60-minute comment period to hear the public on agenda items as well as for general orals by telephone call-in. The only exception to this 60-minute period is public hearings. Comments that are directly relevant to agenda-sized hearings will be taken as part of the actual hearing. You may participate by calling in to the public input hotline. The number is 310-618-2404 and will be displayed on the screen from time to time. Please be patient when calling in. And please be aware that our call center is very busy, taking multiple telephone calls, so you may get a busy signal when you're calling in. If this is the case, please try calling back in a moment or two. City Clerk, have emails received before 2 p.m. today been processed as supplemental material and provided to council?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Then the next thing on our agenda is our flag salute led tonight by Councilmember Matucci, followed by an invocation by Councilmember Ashcraft. I ask everybody, please stand.
Please join me in flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, as we ask for wisdom as we make tough decisions in this meeting. Even if we have different opinions, please give us the unity spirit. Help us listen politely as others share their points of view. The pandemic is still with us but waning, and we're grateful for that. We remember all those who have been affected by this terrible virus. Please be with and bless our police, fire, and military men and women as they protect our rights and keep us safe. We're also grateful for our city staff who work diligently to keep our city running so well. May we have a spirit of camaraderie and work together for the benefit of Torrance. Amen.
Thank you both. We'll take a report of the city clerk on the post of the agenda.
Your Honor, this agenda was posted on Thursday, May 13th, 2021.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to waive further reading of resolutions and ordinance after number and title.
I move to waive further reading of resolution and ordinance after number and title.
Second.
Start voting, please. Your Honor, that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Announcement of withdrawn, deferred, or supplemental items.
Thank you, Your Honor. Adam Chaparian, City Manager. There are supplemental materials available online on the city website at torranceca.gov for the following items. Item 7, oral communications. Item 9A, COVID-19 recovery update. Item 9C, consider limits on leaf blower use, including type and hours of operation. Item 9D, provide direction on city treasurer pay and benefits. And lastly, item 9E, adopt resolution for lighting district number 99-1. proceedings to levy annual assessments for fiscal year 21-22 and set date for public hearing. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. That takes us to community matters. Item 6A is a proclamation celebrating the Torrance Women's Club 100th anniversary. Councilmember Kalani, would you please read this for us?
It would be my honor, Mayor. Whereas the Torrance Women's Club, organized in 1921 and whose founders were active in the community, continues to promote the advancement of all cultures and communities for civil betterment and public welfare. And whereas in 2021, the Torrance Women's Club members have come together to celebrate the 100th anniversary of enthusiastic community service and leadership development opportunities. And whereas in 1924, a groundbreaking occurrence for the new $17,500 clubhouse on Ingracia Avenue in the city of Torrance, with a final payment celebration in 1946. Since 1932, members of the Torrance Women's Club have been represented at the General Federation of Women's Clubs District and State Conventions. And whereas, in 1939 through 40, the Torrance Women's Club was instrumental in obtaining public bus transportation in the city of Torrance, and members continue to serve as volunteers at transit events. In 1941 through 43, the USO used the clubhouse for the World War II effort, and those in military and civic service continue to be acknowledged through various club sponsorship programs. And whereas, in 1972, the Torrance Women's Club members helped clean the original Schweitzer Learning Center building in Torrance, and members remain committed to fundraising events to support scholarships for deserving students and to promote literacy. In 1988, the Torrance Historical Society designated the clubhouse a historical site with a bronze plaque, and the House Committee vows to retain the 1920s era decor. And whereas, in 2021, what began in 1921 now consists of over 100 members who volunteer their time and talent for community outreach in areas of education, domestic violence awareness, art, conservation, fundraising, home life, international military and public issues, women's history, and advocacy for children.
Now therefore, I, Patrick J. Fury, as mayor of the city of Torrance, California, do hereby celebrate May 18th, 2021 as the 100th anniversary of the Torrance Women's Club in the city of Torrance, and encourage all residents of our fine city to recognize the important contributions of this club over the past 100 years. And furthermore, that we anticipate the continuity of these significant benefits to our community. Signed this 18th day of May, 2021. I believe that the Torrance Women's Club President, Lynn Robinson, is on the line to accept.
Lynn Robinson, are you on the phone line? Mayor, I've been made aware that there are technical issues with the teleconference line. Unfortunately, at this time, we're trying to resolve it.
Okay. Are you there, Lynn?
Mayor, if we can pause for a few moments, please,
Okay.
to try to reset the system. Thank you.
Hang in there, we're having a couple technical difficulties, but we'll try to resolve them real quick. Do we have a connection with Ms. Robinson?
City Cable, are you on the phone line?
Hello?
Hi, is this Lynn?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn, this is Mayor
I'm
Fury.
still here. Hello, Mayor. How are you?
Okay, Councilmember Kalani just read the proclamation, and you're accepting it, and I'm sure you have a few words to
I
say.
saw that. Thank you. I've been holding while they figured out how to connect me. On behalf of the members of the Torrance Women's Club, I want to thank the council for this proclamation and for recognition of our 100th anniversary. The Torrance Women's Club is proud of our 100 years of service to the community, and we look forward to another 100 years.
Well, thank you, Lynn. We're very proud of you as well and all the people involved in the Women's Club, and always offer that up for a great place to have a gathering or a party after we get through this pandemic. The Women's Club facility is one of those great places that we have in the city of Torrance, and it's only because of the efforts of you and your colleagues. So we thank you for being here with us in the city of Torrance.
We appreciate it. We're glad to be here, and we'll be ready when everything is open.
I know you will be. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to item 6B. It's a proclamation declaring May 2021 as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Torrance. Councilmember Chen, would you do the honors?
Absolutely, Mayor. Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is observed in the month of May to recognize the history and achievements of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and whereas the month of May was chosen as AAPI Heritage Month to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese citizen to the United States on May 7, 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869, in which the majority of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants. And whereas the city of Torrance is proud to be a home to a large AAPI population that contributes greatly to the prosperity of the community, and whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders make our nation more vibrant through diversity of cultures, languages, and religions, and whereas we celebrate the contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, but we must also acknowledge a darker aspect of the AAPI experience in the United States, which includes painful stereotypes, structural discrimination, and heightened fear felt by many AAPI communities in the wake of increasing rates of anti-Asian harassment and violence during the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas we celebrate and honor the invaluable contributions the AAPI communities have made to our nation's culture and the arts, law, science and technology, sports and public service, including the courageous Asian American and Pacific Islanders who have served on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic as healthcare providers, first responders, teachers, armed forces, and other essential workers. And whereas the city of Torrance is proud to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month and commemorate the essential contributions, sacrifices, and accomplishments that Asian American and Pacific Islanders have made to our community and nation.
Now, therefore, I, Patrick J. Fury, as mayor of the city of Torrance, California, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the city of Torrance, and call upon the residents of the city of Torrance to learn more about the history of the Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Signed this 18th day of May, 2021. I believe that Ms. Kim Wang is accepting this proclamation. Is she available?
Yes.
Hi, Kim.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Mayor Fury, honorable members of the City Council. Yes, my name is Kim Wang. I'm a longtime Torrance resident, and I'm a former Culture Arts Commissioner. It is my honor to accept this proclamation on behalf of the AAPI community celebrating this Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month for this month of May. And I'd like to thank all of you for recognizing the contributions of Asian Americans in our city of Torrance. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for accepting this, and to all our Asian American and Asian Pacific Islanders out there. We're so proud of you. 38% of our community is Asian or Asian Pacific Islander, and that's one of the things I think we're really proud of, is the diversity that we do have in our community. So it's an honor to celebrate this month on your behalf, and we're there with you celebrating. So thank you, Kim. I appreciate you accepting it. We move on. Item 6C is from the Commission on Aging and Community Services to recognize the 2021 Older Americans Award recipients. On behalf of my colleagues on the City Council, it's my privilege to recognize Lois Jones, Rosemary Walters, Fred Peitzman, Nadie Comner, Mary Ann Donahue, Kathleen Davis, and Tom Brewer, all who were nominated by the Torrance Commission on Aging to receive the 2021 Older Americans Award. This year, Lois Jones is celebrating her 100th birthday, and the Torrance Women's Club is celebrating their 100th anniversary, as we just heard. Lois has been an active member of the Torrance Women's Club since 2007 and has served in various leadership positions. She is currently serving as librarian, overseeing and maintaining book donations and assisting with the book displays at the annual rummage sale. As a committee member, she can be counted on for the Women's Club fundraising efforts that support the community. Lois has modeled at the annual fashion show fundraiser, which awards scholarships to deserving area students, and has been the prom queen at the senior prom, whose proceeds help South Bay Village. Congratulations, Lois, on behalf of my colleagues on the council. Rosemary Walters is a very active volunteer and member with the Torrance Rose Float Association for the past 10 years. Rosemary volunteers 8 hours a day, at least 3 days a week during float building time, meticulously gluing flowers and seeds on the float. She is a member of the Social Square Dance Club, Boots and Bows, that meets 3 times a week as assistant dance coordinator. The club entertains at the Torrance Memorial Medical Center Holiday Festival. Rosemary is a member of the PEO International Professional Employer Organization, which provides scholarships to select young women from other countries to pursue graduate studies in the United States or Canada. Congratulations, Rosemary. Well deserved. Moving on, aerospace science and technology professional Fred Peitzman has been a volunteer at the Western Museum of Flight for 25 years. Fred has overseen and instructed museum docents in the process of developing displays, tours, and explanations of current and historical developments in the science and technology of aviation and space exploration. He is a patient and articulate teacher and is generous with his time and talents. Fred continues to contribute his exceptional engineering and scientific knowledge and experience to the development of museum programs which inform the public and inspire youth in their pursuit of understanding the impressive past accomplishments and future promises of the aerospace industry. Congratulations, Fred. Well deserved. For the past 5 years, Nadine Comner has volunteered at Torrance Memorial Hospital 2 days a week, 8 hours a day, where she runs errands for the nurses, assists visitors and patients in a non-clinical way, as well as discharging patients. Nadine has also volunteered at the Norris Theater as an usher, greeting attendees and helping them find their seats for more than 5 years on the weekends. She is cheerful, helpful, and friendly at all times. Nadine is also a member of the Kiwanis Club, where she attends weekly meetings and joins various activities and donations to various organizations. A retired middle school teacher, Nadine is currently a substitute teacher for Torrance Unified School District. Congratulations, Nadine. Thank you for all your help. Since 2004, Mary Ann Donahue has been a long-time at-large board member and tutor of the South Bay Literacy Council, focused on volunteer recognition and retention. Mary Ann has evaluated students for the online learner programs and has tutored both ESL and our Reading Horizons Elevate a reading and writing for native English speakers program. She has a master's degree in social work, and after many rewarding years of hospice and mental health work, she is retired. Mary Ann is an active member of St. Peter's by the Sea Presbyterian Church and has been on their mission committee for more than 20 years. She is a caring, selfless, active tutor who is passionate about social justice and also volunteerism, I might add. Thank you, Mary Ann. Kathleen Davis served on the Commission on Aging for 8 years and served as chair for 6 of those years. She has been an active member of the Torrance Women's Club since 2004, where she served as president for 2 years and currently serves as the press chairperson, preparing press releases for the local news outlets and city cable, introducing clubs, civic projects, and programs available to the public. She's a strong advocate for seniors and volunteered at Focal Point, a senior information and resource organization from 2012 through 2019. She also volunteered with the nonprofit organization South Bay Village, which helps seniors remain in their homes. Thank you, Kathleen, for all your volunteer service to our city. On Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can find Tom Brewer at the Torrance Farmers Market, where he's actively involved in the day-to-day process of operations. He is an indispensable and hardworking asset to the farmers market staff, as well as the farmers. Tom has volunteered in various capacities with numerous organizations throughout the Torrance community. He served as an advisor and ambassador to Assembly Member David Hadley, is a docent at the Torrance Historical Society Museum, a census enumerator for U.S. Census Bureau, and volunteer for the Torrance Homeless Count. Tom is a member and past president of West Torrance Rotary Club and the Torrance Education Foundation. Well, they didn't mention this here, but I believe Tom was also a member of the city council for about 8 years, so I think that should have been led on there as well. Now, if everyone will join me in a round of applause for all the recipients of the 2021 Older American Award. That was a lot I had to say. So it really gives me great pleasure to move on to item 6D from Community Development. It's a presentation of the 2021 Torrance Strategic Plan by the Strategic Plan Committee and being presented tonight by Ms. Linda Cessna from our Community Development Department.
So Mayor Fury and members of the council, normally the committee would be here in person to make this presentation, but due to the circumstances, they're unable to do so. However, this group is nothing if not adaptable, and therefore they have prepared a very special and unique presentation for you. But before the presentation, staff would like to recognize and thank a number of people who helped bring the plan to completion. First, the amazing, hardworking, dedicated, and visionary committee members. This would not have happened without them. They worked over a long period of time, much longer than they anticipated. And they were a joy to work with, both in person and on Zoom. They were an excellent group of people. Second, the staff members who supported the committee both during the data gatherings and through the meetings. Their names, too many to mention, are in the plan itself, and they should all be recognized for their contributions. Also, Claudia Tedford and Patricia Blumen, the city place planners who expertly facilitated the process. Gail Shota from our own Central Services Department, who designed the cover art and logo. Jamie Lay and Carolyn Chun, who worked on the layout, and the Central Services staff who put the plan together. And then Jin Chun, who produced the presentation you're about to see, and the cable TV staff who put it all together. And finally, we would like to thank the city manager, staff, and council for your support of this process. The next step is the formulation of the implementation plan, which will then be brought forward to your honorable body for adoption and implementation. And now the Strategic Plan Committee proudly presents the world premiere of their video, The Making of the 2021 Strategic Plan.
Hi, my name is Lori Love, and I'm one of the many members of the City of Torrance Strategic Plan Committee. We are so proud to present this plan as it has been several years in the making. Through the power of working together, it is finally complete and we couldn't be more proud.
We are a group who came together knowing almost nothing about each other than we each had the desire to make Torrance the best possible place to live, play, and work. We leave as an extremely united group, believing we've done exactly that.
Careful thought and consideration was placed on each of the city's 10 priority goals, and the completion was successful because of the freedom that each committee member was given to express their own personal views, experiences, and aspirations. It is my hope that with this plan, Torrance elevates to new and exciting levels.
The committee is very proud to present this strategic plan to the City Council on your behalf. Learn more about your community. Find the areas where you fit in. Your voice counts. Give your feedback to the City Council and let's generate conversations for possibilities among all who live, work, and play in the city of Torrance.
The city's first strategic plan, adopted in 1996, was created as a common vision and process for anticipating and planning for future based on input from the residents, businesses, and employees of the city. Fast forward 25 years later, the composition of the Strategic Plan Committee hasn't changed much, with 7 at-large members appointed by the mayor and council, a representative from a small and large business, members from various homeowners associations throughout the city, Torrance Unified School District, the Council on Aging, and 2 youth council representatives.
I am confident after many months of diligent effort that this strategic plan provides a thorough and well-grounded set of strategic priorities to guide the city of Torrance forward towards a more equitable and thriving community until the next iteration of the plan. And the more of us involved in the process, the more Torrance and all those who live, work, and play here will benefit.
As a member of the Strategic Plan Committee representing the Torrance Youth Council, it's important that the hopes and aspirations of the younger generations be included in the priorities and goals the city will be working on over the next 10 years. I look forward to seeing the continued growth of our community based on the goals and priorities contained in the 2021 Strategic Plan.
I trust that our esteemed City Council will appreciate that the revisions we made to the previous plan were timely, and the new additions that we added were thoroughly considered based upon their strategic importance to our city. A big thank you goes out to Linda Cessna and the entire city staff that helped us work together so well during these historic times.
I'm especially proud to be part of a cross-section of Torrance citizens who work together towards a consensus on aspirational goals for our community for the next 10 years. There are many difficult challenges, but none so great as those inflicted by the catastrophes of 2020. Pandemic, economic devastation, and the upheavals caused by social injustice. I believe it is to our committee's credit that we were able to reconvene our meetings via Zoom. We undertook to re-examine 2/3 of our report that had been previously completed in light of the aforementioned events.
The committee began meeting bi-monthly starting in April of 2019, with the initial meetings dedicated to reviewing the data and analyzing the city's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats based on the data. The committee next focused on the vision, values, mission statement, and citizens' preamble to ensure that they were reflective of the current data, followed by an examination of the strategic priorities, goals, and sub-goals for continued relevance to the community. By March of 2020, the committee was nearing the end of their work, but was interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic and safer-at-home orders. The committee was on hiatus until September 21, 2020, at which time they began meeting via Zoom, a new and initially awkward method of working together. As a result of the changes seen during the hiatus, including societal changes arising from the pandemic and civil unrest, as well as renewed concerns regarding cybersecurity, the committee decided that they needed to review their previous work to reflect the changes and issues that had arisen since the initial data gathering in order to ensure that these new issues would be adequately represented in the plan. The collaboration between the committee members have been incredible. To bring ideas, views, and perspectives from all aspects of our community is what I believe makes this plan a balanced one. Housing concerns, refinery safety, environmental issues, interest in greater transparency and two-way communication in government were some of the topics added as the new or revised goals and sub-goals as it reflects the changes in our community and our world. The Torrance vision drives the strategic plan. The vision describes the community achieving its full potential and reflects the high ideals identified by the community as it looks to the future.
The value statement describes the key attributes that are most important to individuals, the community, and the city. The values strengthen the strategic plan by setting forth positive attitudes and behaviors by which to live and govern.
The Citizens Preamble states that the community's commitment and responsibility in making the vision become a reality. The community's significant involvement in developing the plan and its commitment to achieving the vision are critical to the success of the strategic plan.
The mission statement expresses the city government's purpose and describes its role, responsibility, and commitment in carrying out the plan to assure the realization of the community's vision.
These strategic priorities identify those issues that are important to the community to address over the next 10 years. Through the data gathered for this project, the following are key areas which the community and the city consider extremely important in achieving the vision.
The strategic plan is a dynamic document meant to continuously reflect the vision, goals, and aspirations of the community. On behalf of the committee, we thank you for the opportunity to work on the strategic plan revision. It has been a passion project for all of us, and we hope that it is reflected in the strategic plan.
Well, thank you, Ms. Cessna, for the presentation, and thank you to all of our great volunteer citizens and the hard work of our city staff in putting this together, a 2-year journey, and a lot of that was due to the COVID-19 situation, but just like the rest of us in government, they moved around and got into meeting virtually, and they got the job done, created 104 pages of our Constitution as we move forward. As a city, at the vision for that. And they say it's a dynamic document. I think it was dynamic members of our community that put it together. So on behalf of my colleagues on the council, thank you so much for doing that. I'm sure this is going to guide us as we move forward as a great city in the next decade and the decades to follow. It's certainly a blueprint for our city and for your leaders, as well as for the residents and our employees. So thank you very much for that. I'm so glad that you accomplished your goal, and that was to create the 2021 strategic plan for the city of Torrance. Okay, we move on to the agenda, and we're up to orals. So we're now moving on to the 60-minute public comment period for agenda items and general orals. If any members of the public wish to speak, please call the public comment hotline now at 310-618-2404. City Council Rules of Order section 6.4E provides that speakers can only speak once. Any speaker that attempts to speak a second time on any item will be disconnected. Callers will have 1 minute to speak on one agenda item, 2 minutes total to speak on 2 or more agenda items, and 1 minute for general orals. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes, then will be disconnected automatically. Please speak when prompted and state the number of the agenda item or items you wish to speak on, or if you want to just make a general comment. There is a delay in the broadcast, so we ask you not to try to follow what you may hear on the broadcast. Please turn down the volume on your TV or viewing device and try not to use Bluetooth or speaker phones. When speaking on agenda items, you must be on topic. We'd like to get in as many speakers as possible. If you're not speaking on topic, or if we can't tell if you're on topic, you'll get a warning to get on topic. If you do not then speak on topic, or if you go off topic once again, you forfeit the remainder of your time, and we will move on to the next caller pursuant to City Council Rules of Order, Section 6.5 and Section 6.7B3 and B4. If there are no speakers waiting before the 60-minute period has elapsed, we will close the public comment portion of the meeting. Please note that the council orals will still take place at the end of the meeting. To the call center, do we have anyone who's called in?
Yes, Mayor, I'll begin to transfer the calls. Sheila B., you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on?
Oral Communications 14B and 6B.
Thank you. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Once again, your acknowledgement of Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, you're acknowledging it, and yet you let anti-Asian hate run rampant in Torrance. Much like other forms of racism, including by the police department, it was stated in the proclamation, includes painful stereotypes, structural discrimination, and the heightened fear. This is definitely experienced by Asian Pacific Islanders who have stood in solidarity with Black Lives Matter as we stand in solidarity with them, because there is an understanding that there is a shared experience in these things. Without action, meaningful action, action called on by the community, your words once again fall flat. You want to discuss the threat to public services? What about the threat that public services such as the police, which have hailed from slave catchers, and the public threat that is you, city council, that is supposed to be the oversight of the police, who, like yourselves, don't serve the public, but clearly serve white supremacy? How many more emails must you receive? How many more phone calls must you get? Last week, you received 26 of them. 16 of them were for Christopher. Are you getting the message? What else must happen? How many more people must die? Charles Wang, Asa Dolak, Michelle Shirley, Michael David Lopez, Christopher DeAndre Mitchell, and Desiree Nicole Garza weren't enough? That is just in the last few years. You were told to create a civilian oversight commission of the police department by a grand jury. The DA is reopening the case. There was a worldwide uprising after the murder of George Floyd. There is a George Floyd in Torrance, Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. There is a Derek Chauvin in Torrance of Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez. Lawsuits are piling up. A state senator that represents Torrance, Senator Bradford, is once again running a bill to decertify police officers. Both Concannon and Chavez could be decertified. What else will it take? I will tell you again, we will never give up. The time for justice is over. It is always right now. That whole video you showed is absolutely ridiculous. You do not align with the values. Where's the Civilian Oversight Commission in that vision? Where's the firing of Concannon and Chavez in that vision? Talking about civil unrest and not addressing the underlying issues, despite calls to do so, is bogus and bullshit. Christopher DeAndre Mitchell, say his name. 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 Justice for Christopher. 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 Say his name. Fire Concannon. Fire Chavez. Fire Concannon. Fire Chavez. Fire Concannon. Fire Chavez.
Mayor, that caller was disconnected because our time was up. Moving on to the next caller. Michelle R., you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on?
Oral Communications and 6D.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes starts now.
So first, I just want to uplift the name of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell and send love and peace to his mother, Sherlyn, and his family. BLMLA's political education arm explored the Derek Chauvin verdict a few weeks back and recounted events and actions that led to the guilty verdict. At every turn, the system tried to deny accountability and thwart efforts to try and convict Derek Chauvin. It was activists in the streets, led by Black leaders, who put public pressure on politicians and systems to bring forth this trial and eventually deliver this verdict. To believe that accountability and justice would have been served had it not been for the people who demonstrated in mass and targeted specific public officials like the AG responsible for overseeing this investigation and this case is entirely inaccurate. This system wasn't designed to deliver justice to victims of state-sanctioned terror. It was designed to protect the interests of the powerful and privileged elite. So to believe that our criminal legal system will hold killer cops like Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez accountable without active public engagement is simply naive. And our collective voices have been calling on this council every week for 2 years to bring forth the absolute bare minimum of civilian oversight of our violent, brutalist police force, which has long since been called for by both your constituents and a grand jury, and we're ignored and dismissed as lesser than by the standards you use to rank and prioritize people. The systems and its actors, you electeds, do not serve us. You serve the payers and players of the system. Fire and prosecute murderers Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez and establish a civilian oversight commission. Black Lives Matter.
Mayor, that caller disconnected herself. Moving on to the next caller. TJA, you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on? TJ?
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What agenda item are you calling on, sir?
General Oral 6A, 6B.
Your 3 minutes starts now.
And I also, again, mirror the sentiments of a previous caller and not thankful for how much time you wasted on that propaganda video of Torrance that dismisses all the complicity you all have taken with Black Death. Where is the Civilian Oversight Commission that was suggested by the Supreme Court? How often do you recognize Black contributors in your community for the Older Americans Award recipients? Because I'm just curious. Anthony Chavez and Matthew Concannon need to be fired for the murder of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell. His life mattered. Prove to the people of Torrance that you are not a city made out of the stain of your sundown town racist past, and prove that the wrongful death of Christopher in your city by the hands of your officers matters. The Torrance County police officers acted as executioners, not even letting Christopher respond, speak a single word, or get out of the car. The officers, frantic, unstable, and inaudible orders to Christopher, who most definitely feared for his life, as all Black and brown folks do in interacting with the police, should have been enough to have them removed from service. And on top of them not being able to simply direct a man out of his car, they killed him. 15 seconds. They killed Christopher DeAndre Mitchell within 15 seconds. Fire Concannon and Chavez. Are you able to imagine a future that has another approach that would not allow killing a man within 15 seconds? A possible future where community members who are also actually trained in peaceful de-escalation, community members who do not pull out guns and unload them into the bodies, cars, chests, homes of Black and brown folks. Your police officers killed someone within 15 seconds. Officer, jury, death squad, and it is unacceptable, it is deplorable, and it is downright cruel, and so incredibly racially fueled. Just think about the different ways police on a national level approach white people versus the instant murder of countless Black women, men, and children. This will continue until committees like yours actually do something. Whiteness and white supremacy thrive in darkness and oppression. And with the deaths of Adam Toledo, Atiana Jefferson, Waukesha Wilson, Dante Wright, Makia Bryant, Breonna Taylor, Andrew Brown Jr., Rayshard Brooks, Derek Chauvin, Kenneth Russ Jr., Sharia Mack, these deaths are all connected to you, to white supremacy culture and your dismissal of Christopher's death and life and of Black and brown death in general, all connected to the unjust system of policing that is operating as it was designed.
Mayor, that caller was disconnected because his time was up. Moving on to the next caller. JL, you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on?
60 and oral communications.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes starts now.
I completely don't understand what you guys don't understand. We are not stopping. As you can hear, caller after caller, we are relentless. We are demanding a civilian oversight. We are demanding the firing of Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez. We are demanding this. Our ancestors have rose to this capacity so that we can lead and tell y'all we are not giving up. Every single time you withhold justice, you just incite us more to continue to rise. There is absolutely no way in hell that we are going to allow you guys to continue this horrible white supremacy system in Torrance. If that means that we will have to call in, go to your house, Mayor Ferry, which I'm assuming you love, we will do anything and everything is possible. You guys will not be able to go walk around in your retirement age without knowing the lives that you have denied justice for. Those deaths, Christopher DeAndre Mitchell's whole spirit will follow you to the depths of hell, where you guys will all soon be going. You guys do not understand that we are not giving up. We are demanding a civilian oversight. We are demanding the firing of Anthony Chavez and Matthew Concannon. We are demanding that. You have this whole, showboating yet again, talking about what you guys are doing for the community, and yet you are not doing the actual what the community needs. Because you want to uphold your white supremacy. You're so damn fragile that it's absolutely annoying. I'm demanding that you guys also resign because you're really just fucking pointless at this point.
Mayor, that caller was disconnected because her time was up. Moving on to the next caller. David K., you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on?
Yes, 9D, 6D, and general orals.
Thank you. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. This is David Carstonis. I do want to disclose first that I am the City of Torrance Planning Commissioner, but anything I speak to tonight, I'm speaking as a resident of the City of Torrance, not on behalf of the city. So first off, I want to congratulate TPD, our police department, on 100 years of service, keeping our community safe. Another anniversary is coming up soon. I want to thank our neighbors and friends who worked so hard on the strategic plan. Among other things, I want to call out specifically, as a small business owner in the city, I'm pleased to see business development still as a priority. I'm happy to hear that my fellow business owners are as happy to be in Torrance as we are. I won't be calling in for the budget hearing as I spoke to it last week, but it brings me to item 9D. I want to reiterate that I think the Finance Department has done a great job absorbing the responsibilities of the Treasurer. It's disappointing to see the statement of investment, though signed by the Finance Director and not the City Treasurer. There is a real problem here, and I actually, however, don't think that diminishing or removing the office is really going to be the best solution. The City Treasurer, like the City Clerk, answers to the voters, not to the City Council, not to City staff. It's an important oversight position. Yes, the current City Treasurer has abandoned her post, but she's an elected official and can't be fired. At this point, a recall would just be a huge taxpayer expense as she's already at the end of her term. Our best option is to replace her with but we need to remember that the person holding the position is the problem, not the position itself. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mayor, that caller disconnected himself. Moving on to the next caller. Aaron S., you are now unmuted. Can you please state what agenda item you're calling on?
Oral communications.
Thank you. Your 1 minute starts now.
Thank you. I also want to echo other statements expressing support that the Torrance City Council create a civilian oversight commission and demand that you fire officers Chavez and Concannon. Police oversight can benefit not only the individual, complainant, but also the larger community, police and sheriff's departments, and even elected or appointed officials. Obviously, the trust has been broken between citizens and visitors of Torrance and the police that are here to serve and supposedly protect them. I just want to remind anybody who doesn't understand that due process is still a thing. I'm really concerned over the lack of de-escalation that occurred, and Christopher DeAndre Mitchell's family, community, and Torrance as a whole deserve justice. And so I want citizens of all colors to feel served and protected when they're within Torrance's bounds. And